all your noise and bluster. You're just a silly little girl with no one around to protect her.
Hey everybody, welcome back to the Geek Branch podcast. We are going to discuss about a recent movie that has been in the box office, and that is Harley Quinn's Birds of Prey. That's what I would call it, but it's actually called Birds of Prey and the Emancipation of One Fantabulous Harley Quinn, which is a really long title and is ridiculous. Well, just in case you don't already know, it's a total bomb. Shocker. The marketing has been trying to sell this as go woke or go broke type movie. So everybody was assuming this was all about girl power and no boys allowed type of movie. And apparently from various people, while the movie is, you know, a movie that does do girl power, it's not as, you know, one would say SJW-esque, feminist-esque movie that pushes boys out from watching the movie. It is just a terrible movie altogether, apparently. As one reviewer said, if you enjoy the Joel Schumacher Batman movies, then you'll enjoy this movie. And for people who don't know who that is, he's the guy that did Batman and Robin and Batman Forever. So the movie was tracking to do like, the biggest number was like $65 million. They're lucky to hit $33 million. This movie is on its way to be the worst opening ever for a DC movie.
The usual meme of let's go fight somewhere empty for Goku and Vegeta.
Yes, there has been a big meme for it because there has been plenty of YouTubers that said, I went to go see the movie Thursday night and there's only been like a few other people in the theater with me. In fact, one said I had me and my two friends go and one random guy was in there with us and that was it.
I can't say I'm surprised. This movie didn't look good to me from the outset.
Yeah, and the big thing is marketing. The marketing for this has been, there's been all kinds of articles about how it said that this movie isn't for the boys and this and that, and how they were trumping it up to be this women's empowerment movie. And really, at the end of the day, it's just a popcorn action flick. And it's not apparently a very good one at that. And it's copying off of Deadpool.
There's a few things. One, I think that the violence is kicked up a little bit harder than...
Yeah, because it's rated R.
Yeah, well, even harder than Deadpool is what I was going to actually bring up, specifically just because I know that they do some pretty gruesome things across the duration of this movie. That's one. And two, because they decided to detail this Harley Quinn, they lost out on a lot of potential consumers that were used to the softer Harley Quinn from the animated series, in that not her new animated show, because that's about the same level of violence as you can expect from the movie, actually.
Right.
But from older times, there's a sweet spot for 1992 Harley Quinn moving forward into the DC animated universe, where that Harley Quinn has been actively promoted to teens and children.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that is the Harley Quinn that probably would have drew the largest crowd.
That's what got people to watch Suicide Squad, and it was the same one that Margot Robbie did. It was in a PG-13 film. This one's rated R for people that don't know that.
And so the difference between the two, which should have actually been swapped around, in my personal opinion, I think Suicide Squad would have been better off rated R, and that this would have been better off PG-13.
Yeah,
is that well, you can't. No parent in their right mind is going to allow the largest audience, which would have been, you know, teenage slightly
females,
younger girls who would have come out to see the Birds of Prey, who are arguably, between them and the Gotham City Sirens, the two biggest female pools in DC.
Yeah.
You know, in my personal opinion. I mean, I'm a giant Wonder Woman fan, but I still think that girls prefer Birds of Prey and Gotham City Sirens.
A lot of them don't really know who Birds of Prey is or Gotham City Sirens. And that's a go ahead.
Well, I mean, from the girls that I know that are knowledgeable of the matter.
Right, but general
I was
consumers.
General public, yes, they don't know who those teams are.
But they know who Harley Quinn is.
Right. And it was funny. I was at Walmart a couple days ago, and I literally saw posters for the new Harley Quinn movie in like the little girls section. Yeah. And it's
because she's popular with slightly older children and preteens and teens.
Yeah, and that makes sense, except that this movie isn't for
them. No, it's for adults. It's rated R. It should have been rated PG-13 for one. for that target audience. And then the other thing is it should not have been a ridiculously long title that focused on Birds of Prey, because a lot of people said it's really not a Birds of Prey movie. They're barely in the movie. It's a Harley Quinn movie.
Yeah.
And that's what people would have went to go see. At the very least, they should have just named it Harley Quinn and the Birds of Prey, because she's not a Birds of Prey. She's not.
Well, yeah, she's a Gotham City siren.
Yes.
And none of the sirens are in the movie
No.
besides her.
Besides her, yeah.
But so what would have, I think, would have been the perfect pitch for this movie, and what would have made it a success, is it should have been working title Gotham City Sirens versus Birds of Prey.
Yeah.
Or Birds of Prey versus Gotham City Sirens. And what they should have done is made the figure that both groups were fighting over Cassandra Cain, because that would have been the insert character for all of these preteen and teen girls.
Right.
Yeah.
And then you could have had Harley Quinn, Poison Ivy,
Right.
Catwoman versus all of the Birds of Prey, Black Canary, Huntress, and what you would have gotten would have been strong female characters across several different spectrums.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You could pick your world model if you wanted to.
Yeah.
Out of all of these characters in the PG-13 setting, none of them would have been too grievous that parents would have had any qualms about saying, well, my daughter likes Poison Ivy. Well, my daughter likes Harley Quinn. But if I was a parent right now and then looking at the face of this movie and my little girl ran up to me and said, I like Harley Quinn, well, I don't think I actually approve of her looking at this version of Harley Quinn as a role model.
It's funny. As I said before, I know you two haven't continued watching it, but the Harley Quinn TV show that's been on DCU, Ivy's the best part of it.
Yeah.
And adding Ivy to this movie, I think would have.
Margot Robbie actually wants to do a movie with Poison Ivy.
See, I think that would have been a much better thing.
But that's not going to happen now.
Yeah, I was going to say.
I mean, I don't know. They might give her a second shot. She is going to be in The Suicide Squad, which is the soft reboot / sequel to Suicide Squad, which will be rated R.
I'm not necessarily a fan of the actress personally. I don't think she's all that great, but I don't think she also plays a bad Harley.
I don't think she plays a bad Harley at all. I think she tried her best to try to basically clone what's already been done.
Well, see, the problem is, right, is that I have nothing against Margot Robbie as an actress, and I actually really like her in Harley Quinn's role, and she's really adept at playing basically New 52 plus Harley Quinn.
Right.
The problem is that version of Harley Quinn is not the version of Harley Quinn that I like, and so I don't have any issues with her. I just have an issue with the character that they've given her to play.
They made her too one-dimensional. First of all, they could have easily, because the way they set her up, the New 52 Harley Quinn is more of a side character. She doesn't. She's a comedic character that doesn't have a lot of depth.
Actually, no. She's a
no. That's accurate of New 52. It's moving into Rebirth.
That's what I'm talking about. Rebirth. Rebirth,
where she becomes the main lead. That's accurate of New 52, because New 52, when they brought her over from pre-New 52, she hadn't been a main character, and she was really a sidekick to Joker, a very important, integral part of Joker's plot lines, but never a frontline character. Yeah. And in New 52, they redubbed her. She got a new appearance, a new look. This is the first time you start seeing her outside of the traditional jester role, and then they slowly started transitioning her to what she is currently now, which is this. I don't really know what you call her look, but I don't know. She had
kind of like a punk rocker look.
Crap, what's it called? Roller derby kind of thing.
Yeah. She actually is in roller skates in the movie. The roller derby is actually a big thing in the movie.
Because you have.
We haven't watched the movie, just so y'all know, because none of us
are willing to support it.
We just don't care to see it. It didn't seem interesting.
We have our various reasons for it. For me, like I said, I've been living the emancipation of Harley Quinn for more than a decade now. I'm a comic book reader.
Yeah.
There's nothing in this movie that will ever be anything different from what they've done for the last 10 years for the character. And personally, I have had it up to here. So I'm not supporting the movie. This isn't the Harley Quinn that I like. This isn't the Harley Quinn that I want. And a lot of people, well, we'll get to that later.
She's just, they just turned her into a wannabe Deadpool.
Well, it actually is related to the movie. Okay, so the fact that I want to go back to an older time for Harley, sorry. Yeah, right. I want to go back to an older time for Harley is, well, it's very contested. And it's actually something that I would be looked upon negatively for in the current environment, because a lot of people only look back at that Harley Quinn with negative opinions.
Because they always view the toxic relationship.
Out of the last 5 or 6 years, it's really become, faux pas to have liked the previous Harley Quinn. It's more important to like the emancipated Harley Quinn. And that cuts off a lot of her fan base, because the first Harley Quinn that we got and the Harley Quinn that carried her into the popularity that she has now was that Harley Quinn. And now to be a fan of her, a long-running fan. I mean, Harley Quinn appeared in 1992
in the Batman animated series
and has consistently moved forward throughout all of these years. And for me to sit here and have to be like, oh, you're a fan of that? Well, you're a bad person. Completely cuts off any willingness I am to deal with the new Harley Quinn. Like, I can't even tolerate going to see the movie, because even if I was to, just to support one of my favorite characters, like how I'm going to go see The Matrix to support, Neo.
Neo and Keanu Reeves.
Yeah.
In general, yeah.
Even though I disagree with the movie, I can go to that one and then afterwards have a conversation about it without being maligned. Yeah. But I can't do that for Harley Quinn, so I'm not going to go see the movie.
Right. Yeah, I don't care to see it because the storyline has gone on in the comic books forever. Yeah. So if you want to watch an emancipated Harley Quinn, go watch the animated one that's out right now,
which is arguably better, at least from
Has Poison Ivy makes it infinitely better, and King Shark apparently.
Yeah, King Shark's pretty funny.
I really
shout out to Ron Funches for doing that role.
Yeah, I stopped at episode 3, so I don't know what's happened with it. I gave it its 3 episodes, but apparently Alan Tudyk makes a very good Joker.
In my opinion, yes. He also plays Clayface as well.
Yeah, you can tell.
And he like her crew is actually pretty good in it. It's Dr. Psycho, King Shark, Clayface,
Poison Ivy, although she says she's not part of the crew.
She refuses to be a part of the crew, but she's basically a part of the crew.
And then her boyfriend's Kite Man.
That's such a good thing.
So there are 4 core members, and then Ivy making up the 5-man band.
Yeah, and then you got Kite Man showing up every once in a while because he's her boyfriend.
Well, he's always been a gag character. A gag character brought to relevancy by the comics.
But it's
thanks to Tom King.
I think it's pretty good. Dane, I know you won't like it. That's why I'm not telling you to go watch any more of it. But I do think, like, just from what I've seen of trailers and just from what I've heard of the movie, I do think this is a better form of media to watch for Harley Quinn.
They're not doing anything new with the movie when it comes down to it.
Now, I will say I still don't think the first episode was that great for the new TV show. I think it was over the top. It was too over the top for what it was. I think after that, though, it got much better.
People that don't really care to think too much when, they want an action summer blockbuster popcorn flick that you just sit back, relax, and don't really think about it, and you have no connection to the characters.
Yeah.
Are going to enjoy it.
Yeah. No, I mean, it is a blockbuster for people who, are going to enjoy it. But
I mean, I think that it falls into the same category as like Charlie's Angels, where what we would have enjoyed, which is, action chicks doing cool stunts, being violent, and also being, heroic, I mean, I think that maybe this movie might even fail at that.
They said there's a lot of fight scenes in this movie.
Well, yeah, but see the problem.
But they did a bad job with it.
Well, yeah, the problem with that is that there's always it shouldn't be a problem in comic books and comic book movies, but like when you have a 5'6", 130-pound action hero woman without a giant gun like Ridley, or along those lines, you
or
always
even Tomb Raider.
Well, Tomb Raider, she does use guns, she does use a bow, but you have to have a little bit of a suspension of disbelief, because there has to be something to make up the gap between that woman and the 6'3".
They totally ignore that, because there's actually a scene I was watching. Who was it? The Quartering. They're a pretty famous YouTube group. If you don't know who they are. Anyways, they were saying that they had watched a review that told that basically said that they were fighting a mob, a group of big burly men. And,
Black Mask and his gang.
A gang, and there was a scene where they did not have any of their weapons. Well, unbelievably, all the birds of prey were taking these guys down, and there was choice to have said weapons, and they chose not to. And then there was a scene, in that scene, there was a moment where Black Canary uses her special ability, which is her
Sonic Scream.
Sonic Scream.
Canary Cry.
Her Canary Cry. And when she used her canary cry, all these huge guys fall back, like fly back. And Harley Quinn, who is much smaller than those guys, is like holding her own 2 feet right in the middle of the scream.
All right, and none of them have super straight. Now, 3 of them are particularly lethal in melee combat despite having the size difference.
Huntress.
Well, looking at their canonical characters, yes. Huntress, Cassandra Cain, and but I'm saying
I know, but she's not accurate to the comic book character. She does not fight.
We can't validate any of that.
Right.
Well, I've seen videos and reviews stating that she's nothing like her actual character.
Right. But yeah, so Harley Quinn herself, Huntress, and Cassandra Cain, they all have a very high lethality in melee combat, even without weapons.
Right.
But that still leaves about another 3 members of the Birds of Prey that should not be able to walk up to a 6'3", 250-pound roughneck
And you also got
and win the fight.
Rosie Perez, who's like almost 60, playing Renee Montoya. And she's part of the group in the movie, and you're supposed to believe she can take down all these guys.
Yeah, Renee Montoya isn't that old anyway. Renee Montoya is actually really young.
The actress is.
But I mean, however they want to play that. But regardless, she's a gun woman.
Yeah.
To begin with.
Yeah.
I mean, she has some training, just like you could say that Canary has some training, but they've come to rely on other things besides using their, getting their hands dirty.
Right.
So like I said, half of them, even Huntress herself, despite being a melee combatant, primarily uses ranged weapons.
Yeah.
So the suspension of disbelief
is
pressured, even despite this being a comic book movie. Which is, something that we have to bring up because like outside of like Justice League Frontier Wonder Woman is very rarely larger than the men that she's fighting, but you can obviously suspend your disbelief because she has super strength.
Yeah, she's an Amazonian.
Yeah, she's a comic book character.
But Harley Quinn and them do not have super strength.
None of them do. None of them have anything that in your brain allows you to turn off the switch that says 5'3", 130 pounds doesn't beat twice that.
Right.
So
now if she had her huge mallet or something,
or an entire arsenal of prop weapons, which is traditionally
or her hyenas with her,
which easily tilts things in her favor because even though like a fully grown man can take a hyena, not too many people even know what to do when a hyena starts running at them. There's a fear factor to dealing with Harley Quinn and Joker that have always given them the advantage against people that are arguably bigger than them.
Because I mean, half the time you don't actually know what they're gonna do.
Right. I mean, like, it's the reason why Batman has a hard time fighting them to begin with, despite Batman being infinitely better as a physical combatant than Joker. They have this advantage. It is necessary for them to use it because that allows me to suspend my disbelief.
Right.
Because if a woman walks up with an exploding bat and 2 hyenas, I personally don't feel like the 10 gangsters in this room are about to win.
Right.
Now, if they all pull out guns, maybe. But like, I would give it in my mind in a movie. I could turn off the switch that says that maybe these 10 guys make it and be like, no, these 10 guys are about to die.
Right.
Just like when Batman drops down from the ceiling and all the lights go out. I'm like, 10 versus 1, even in the dark, Batman probably won't win logically.
Right.
But the moment the lights go out and he descends with the cape fluttering, I'm like, no, Batman got this.
Yeah, Batman.
Because I just turn off the switch. I'm just like, I'm here. I'm in the movie.
But they don't have from what we've heard, it doesn't seem like they tried to do any of that. And then another issue is the usual argument that there's comic book movie fatigue. And the reason why Joker did so well is because it's basically an opposite of the usual comic book movie flair.
It's a genre blend, which is something that can revive or keep this type of franchise going.
Yeah, I just hope that this won't ruin the Suicide Squad, making it bomb, because I think that's actually going to turn out to be a pretty good movie.
Well, you have a lot of hopes for the new DC cinematic universe.
I was going to say, I don't have much hopes for that. I think it's going to bomb regardless.
You think that with James Gunn's name being plastered on that it's going to bomb?
Maybe.
The director of Guardians of the Galaxy on that title screen?
Well, see, here's the thing. I think it's going to be a good movie, but I think we're going to end up in one of those...
it won't do as well as we're hoping.
Well, I think it's going to end up in one of those Temple of Doom situations where a lot of people are going to drag it down for other reasons than the movie.
Right.
And they're going to be completely justified to do so, but it's still going to end up being a worse movie than it actually is purely because of force of opinion. That's where I think it's going to fall. That's my prediction.
I don't think you're wrong there.
Yeah. So I think it's gonna probably be a 7 or an 8, leaning towards an 8 because I really trust James Gunn and his ability to make team movies work very well.
Yeah, he's very good at it.
And then I think that people are gonna pull it down to a 6 because they're tired of DC. They're tired of
comic book movies.
Right. Well, I don't think that that's necessarily true. They're tired of bad comic book movies. You see what I'm saying?
And we've gotten a lot of them.
Right.
So you think that they're just going to assume because it's made by DC that they're going to say it's bad?
Yes, I do believe that there's going to be a lot of prejudice against the movie itself that's going to drop it by about 2 points.
Yeah. Critics, for whatever reason, they seem to really prefer Marvel.
Well, it's just because Marvel has a better track record. We've seen DC movies, and they haven't had the best track record.
Right. They're starting to improve.
Well, DC has always had the components.
Minus Harley Quinn.
Well, I'm saying DC has always had the components, right?
Right.
They've had the components for the things that would make a good comic book movie, and they have failed successively to put it together.
Right.
And you see different things in every movie that you're like, wow, keep this. Like with Shazam, the comedy for Shazam was on point. Casting, Gal Gadot, Jason Momoa.
Well, really,
Henry
also
Cavill,
Zachary Levi for Shazam as well.
Right.
Yeah.
So casting 1 for 1, amazing, right?
Yeah, and Henry Cavill should stay as Superman. DC.
I mean, he wants to.
Right.
Yeah.
Just no longer CGI his mustache.
Yeah.
But
don't make him stop playing this role for y'all's mistakes. It's y'all's fault, not his fault.
Right. But once again, and then I can point out dialogue, I can point out fight scenes. I can go through each of these DC movies that I've watched and pull out something that's exemplary, and yet we've never managed to get them all together in one movie.
Well, the big issue when they were doing all of that, when they were trying to figure things out, was one glaring issue was the Suicide Squad. A lot of people did not like it. It made a whole bunch of money, though, and that was because it did have good marketing. It hyped it up, and it wasn't that good of a movie. But the two things that were talked about the most that were positive was Deadshot and Harley Quinn.
Because they both got really strong character arcs, which is the thing.
Even though it was essentially Will Smith being Will Smith.
Right. But nevertheless, they gave Deadshot a really strong character line, especially dealing with how he only got into the situation for his family.
Yeah.
Right.
As opposed to being just an assassin.
Right.
And then, of course, for Harley Quinn, all the girls, they immediately go to her.
Well,
Well,
also,
with that-
they touched on Joker
Yes.
in a really they touched on Joker in a traditional way.
Yes.
And no offense, but a lot of people came back and were like, even though they didn't like Jared Leto's Joker, they loved Harley for being in this relationship again.
Right, because it's very entertaining. The issue with all of that was because there was positive notes during that point in time for Warner Brothers. Anytime they would get something positive out of one of these movies,
They push it to the
they
limit.
push it hard. And so with Suicide Squad, the Harley Quinn being taken so positively, there was at one point 3 movies for her in development. There was the Harley Quinn spinoff, there was a Birds of Prey spinoff, and then there was a Gotham City Sirens spinoff. And that's not including her being in a Suicide Squad sequel. That's how much they were going to invest into her.
Yeah.
And that probably half of that got canceled. Just
It did. But
DC grasps hold of something and then they don't let it go.
they
They have
don't.
no.
It's not like with Kevin Feige where he has this huge roadmap set out and he has it organized and knows what would work for general consumers and how to build it up properly.
And in terms of like thinking about it, like we've known what's coming in Marvel for years. They've always been very transparent about what's coming.
The
and when.
phases.
Yeah.
The phases and everything like that. We've known what's coming. DC to a fan base, we don't know except for rumor and hearsay. Aside from like when they've confirmed stuff.
Right. Like people have all kinds of rumors swirling around about the possibility of, and this has been going on forever because of how bad the old movies did, that they're going to use the Flash movie as Flashpoint to fix everything. While it is going to be a Flashpoint movie, they say it's going to be a little different from the comic book line. Everybody assumes that they're still going to try to fix the
Reboot
universe.
everything. Yeah.
And if you still feel that way, obviously DC's not getting something right. If they
Right.
feel like this movie is a necessity.
Because it's not a theory, it's a hope.
Yes.
It really is what.
I know you're not wrong on that.
And so like DC, they lack temperance, they lack moderation. and they do everything to this unreasonable extreme, and that's what's exhausting people.
Yes, and this movie exhausted people. No, I don't know. I know one person that wants to go see it. One person, and they fit into the demographic that they were trying to go for. But it's a small demographic.
Now,
Nowadays.
it didn't have to be. We could have literally have gotten most women below the age of 30 to this movie if they had played it correctly.
Yeah,
Right.
but they didn't.
Yeah.
They just didn't.
And then, like, with that, you would have gotten also every boyfriend, husband, and father, perhaps. You would have also
Taking them on Valentine's Day.
Yeah, you would have also have
It's a week
gotten
away.
Yeah, you could have also have gotten like all of these kid tickets.
Yes.
Like,
Okay, let me put it to you like this. Sonic the Hedgehog is coming out next week.
and we'll do better than this. movie.
Yeah, it's coming out during Valentine's, and it will do exceedingly better than this movie.
I'm willing to put
Sonic-
down hard money on that.
Yeah,
Yes.
same. I'm
Sonic
actually really
that
looking forward to that one.
had the
I don't even care.
the biggest
I'm not even a Sonic guy.
blowback. Yeah,
right.
the biggest blowback for its original design will blow this movie out of the water. I am telling you right now, I fully expect this movie, the Sonic movie, to hit about $45 million to $50 million on the box office.
We all know why Jim Carrey's called his name
Yeah.
Jim Carrey. He's
He
gonna
will carry that movie.
And I'm sorry, but it does look like a good time. Now that they fixed all the issues with Sonic's character design, I love the guy that they picked for Sonic. Like when I found out it was Ben Schwartz, I was like, this guy is perfect for the attitude of Sonic. He's a very much quippy, very sarcastic actor. He's known for a role he played in Parks and Rec. People love to hate him. His name is Ralph. What's his last name? I can't remember. Anyways, he is perfect for this role.
Personally, I would have preferred the actor they've been having play him in the video games recently because I think he's done a really good Sonic for about the past
Right.
he
He does a good job, but this actor
for a movie, I don't blame them for
Yeah, I
getting
get
a
it.
big name actor.
he's not that big.
He has more experience.
Yeah,
than a video game
he's
actor.
Yes,
a
yes.
comedian, and a comedian is a good pick
Yeah,
for Sonic, especially one that can come up with ad libs and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And,
I mean, because this movie is going to be like 50% joke.
right, exactly, because Sonic.
It's Sonic.
I'm actually
It's Sonic.
only
If he
going
does-
to watch it to support the studio and to finally get the answer to the question of where those rings are stored.
If he you'll never get that answer. If he
This might be the movie where we get an answer.
if
for
he
it.
doesn't need a chili dog though, I'll be annoyed.
I will be immensely upset.
Literally, that's all it is he's
I
gonna eat
will
a chili dog.
never understand why the restaurant Sonic has never done any sort of partnership with Sonic the Hedgehog. Y'all make freaking chili dogs. Chili dogs, his favorite food, and your name is Sonic. Missed opportunity.
All right, look, we're not marketing. We can't fix all of these movies or all of these missed opportunities. Because I swear to God, if I was Sonic, this would be the perfect opportunity to have done that. And
Yes.
I agree with the idea, but we're just gonna have to hold off.
I know.
Okay?
I know.
We haven't been hired to fix Warner Brothers or to fix
Paramount. Yes, the people who made all the terrible Transformers movies.
But yeah. So, I mean, that's how we feel about it, folks. And honestly, I'm not telling you not to go see the movie because obviously I have no right to. Please make your own decisions.
Right.
But
This is our
Opinions.
reasons why we're not going to go see it, as well as our opinions on the situation as a whole.
right.
Yeah. If you're a person that's not really invested into comic books and really doesn't know much about the characters and doesn't really care to get involved with it, if you're just looking for some action flick to watch that might be like a C- to you, go watch it. There you go. Anyways, thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for listening. And I always say, thank you so much for allowing us to get to the root of our geek culture with you.